The slap came out of nowhere. We were crammed into Jake and Sarah's backyard. Fairy lights flickered above the patio. Music thumped, everyone a little too loud from the cheap tequila. Mark, my husband's lifelong friend, was already completely drunk, swaying with a red cup in his hand. He'd been teasing me all night about finally looking like I belonged in my new sundress. I laughed it off. It's what you do when your husband's oldest friend is just being Mark. Then he grinned that sloppy, knowing grin, lifted his hand like he was giving me a high five, and smacked my backside hard. The sound cut through the music, like a gunshot. My skin burned instantly, my face flushed. Everyone around us froze for a split second, then laughed awkwardly. That nervous, let's pretend this is funny so no one has to deal with it kind of laugh. I looked at Alex. My Alex, the man who once punched someone in a bar for calling me sweetheart the wrong way. The man who always opened doors for me, kissed my forehead every morning, who told me I was his home. I waited for him to explode. He didn't. He just stared, beer halfway to his lips, eyes wide, mouth slightly open, like he'd stumbled into something he wasn't meant to see. Then he looked down at the grass, fast, like it suddenly fascinated him. Mark laughed louder. Relax. Lexi takes a joke, right, babe? He threw his arm around Alex's shoulders, pulling him in like they were still 22 and untouchable. Alex forced a smile, a tiny broken thing. Yeah, he muttered. She's fine. I wasn't fine. My chest collapsed like someone had scooped out my ribs. I excused myself and stumbled inside on legs that felt like lead, locking myself in the guest bathroom. I sat on the tub's edge and cried silently, because I didn't want anyone to hear. That night was the first crack. The rest of the evening dragged. Alex avoided me. When we finally drove home, the silence between us was heavier than any fight we'd ever had. I kept waiting for him to ask if I was okay, to apologize for not defending me, to say anything. He didn't. Instead, when we pulled in the garage, he killed the engine and spoke so quietly I almost missed it. Why didn't you push him away? I turned to him slowly. What, Mark? You were the one standing there, laughing first. My mouth opened, but nothing came out. I had laughed too, out of shock, reflex, that ingrained instinct women are taught. Don't make a scene. Do you think I wanted that? My voice cracked. He rubbed a hand over his face. I don't know what I think anymore. Lex. That night, everything started to unravel. The next few weeks were strange. Alex became gentle in this careful, distant way, like he was handling something fragile that might cut him. He stopped touching me without asking, stopped looking me in the eye during intimacy. I told myself it was trauma from the party, that he felt guilty for not protecting me, that we'd talk when he was ready. Then I found the messages. It was an accident. His phone buzzed on the kitchen counter while he was in the shower. The preview lit up. Mark, you see the way she leaned into it, though? Told you she's not as innocent as you think. My blood froze. I shouldn't have unlocked it. I knew that, but my thumb moved on its own, entering the passcode we'd shared since our wedding. I scrolled. Months of messages. Mark sending memes about my ass in jeans. Alex replying LOL or fire. Mark joking about stealing me if Alex slipped up, and Alex never shutting it down. Never once saying, that's my wife. Back off. Just letting it happen. Feeding it. The worst message was from 2 weeks after the party. Mark, still thinking about that slap. Bet she liked it more than she let on. Alex, maybe she's been different lately. Mark replied, I couldn't read the rest. I dropped the phone like it burned. When Alex came downstairs, towel around his waist, hair dripping, he saw my face and knew. Lexi, you knew. I whispered, you knew he talks about me like that, like I'm some joke, and you never stopped him. He opened his mouth, then closed it, looking at the floor. That night, I said, voice trembling, you weren't frozen because you were mad at him. You were frozen because you wondered if it was true, if I liked it, if I'm the kind of woman who... No, he said too quickly. Too quickly. That's not, don't lie to me. I screamed. The sound startled even me. You looked at me like I betrayed you, like I did something wrong. Tears streamed down his face. Real tears. I'd only seen him cry twice in 8 years. Once when his dad died, once when we lost our first pregnancy. He choked out. Mark kept saying things, little things for years, that you flirted back when I wasn't looking, that you lit up around him in ways you didn't with me anymore. And I hated myself for even listening. But then that night, you laughed, Lex. You laughed first. And I thought, what if he's right? What if I've been blind this whole time? I stared at him. This man I had loved so fiercely. This man who carried me over puddles, memorized how I take my coffee, held my hair back during chemo 5 years ago, and he had let his best friend poison us, let doubt grow like mold in the walls of our marriage. I walked past him up the stairs and started packing a bag. He followed, begging, "Please?" I'll cut him off. I'll do anything. I was wrong. I know I was wrong. You didn't trust me, I said, zipping the suitcase. My voice was eerily calm. The one thing I needed from you, the one thing I thought we had, you didn't trust me. I left that night, drove to my sister's house with tears blurring the road. He called 100 times, left voicemails that wrecked me, sobbing, broken, promising he'd spend the rest of his life proving I was wrong to doubt him. But the damage was done. Sometimes love isn't enough to undo the moment someone looks at you and wonders if you're the villain in your own story. So yeah, that's the real story behind the title. The slap wasn't the betrayal. The betrayal was the man who was supposed to catch me letting me fall. If this hit you like it still hits me, please like, comment, subscribe, and share with someone who needs to hear they're not crazy for walking away when trust dies. We're so close to 5K. Help me get there. I love you guys. See you next time.